All right. Well, ni hao, bienvenido, bienvenue to Louisville. I'm Katharine, the Executive Director of ESA. I've been here for over a year now, and it's the greatest job I've ever had, I have to say. Welcome to the 104th annual meeting of the Ecological Society of America here in Great Louisville. This year, the meeting's being held jointly with the U.S. Society of Ecological Economics, so also a warm welcome to our colleagues from USSEE. I'm pleased to discover Louisville, such a friendly, welcoming city. And over the past 104 years, ESA has held multiple meetings in the region. I like to look back in the bulletin and get a sense of history. So we've been 4 times in Indiana, 3 times in Tennessee, and 4 times in Columbus, Ohio, including the very first ESA meeting in 1915. This is the first time we're here in Kentucky. Again, at this year's annual meeting, we're drawing people from all over the world. We have 35 countries are represented. We've also reached out to many of the colleges and universities in the region, including the HBCUs and the minority serving institutions, and we have rich diversity of attendees. We have over 700 people from the 400-mile radius around Louisville. I'm excited to see you all here to converge again and share your passion for ecology and environmental science. I'm looking forward to the excitement of the sessions, when you get to share your aha moments and your stories, that time in the field or in the lab or in front of your computer where you realize you discover something new. Each of those moments helps us collectively advance our science. And I hope you use the time here to share all of that passion with your colleagues, your methods, your discovery in ecology, and interact with as many people as you can. The theme of this year's meeting is Bridging Communities and Ecosystem, Inclusion as an Ecological Imperative, and it emphasizes how diversity and inclusion matter in all its forms. We heard an excellent open plenary talk last night, I hope some of you were able to enjoy that, from Karen Workington. And as we interact over the next 5 days, we'll be able to keep exploring this theme. I'd like to take a minute to just highlight what we are continuing to do with the annual meeting, but also what's new this year. We have multiple social events, including section and chapter mixers in the evenings. We have special events like mentoring that will take place at the Career Central. Career Central is in the exhibit hall. It's an expanded version of last year's career fair, and it has 3 different rooms with different kinds of workshops and content every afternoon, Monday through Thursday. You'll find 45 exhibitors in the exhibit hall. Please take a moment to check that out and all of the interesting things they have to offer. There are also section and chapter tables. We've renamed the Thursday event this year as a networking social because it is not the closing of the meeting because we have posters and workshops on Friday. We want to assure a safe meeting for everyone, and we don't tolerate any forms of harassment. We'll enforce the ESA Code of Conduct for events. In addition, we also have a Code of Ethics, which also calls out harassment. You can find the Code of Conduct in the big posters in the hallways. It's also in the program book, and it describes the behaviors that are expected and information on how to report any inappropriate behavior. We also this year, in addition to a few staff contacts, including me, we have an online portal and a 1-800 number that you can call to report any unacceptable behavior. And that information is on the posters as well. So we expect you all to abide by the Code of Conduct and appreciate your cooperation. So we have 2 workshops also this year, again, as we did last year, on sexual harassment and bystander intervention. The first is Monday at 10:15. The second one is Tuesday at 11:30. I will also be speaking a little bit about what ESA in particular is doing to confront this issue at the Career Central on Tuesday afternoon. So we will get started with our program now. We're going to begin with President Laura Huhn. We'll reflect on her year as president. We also give thanks and appreciation to the program chair of the meeting, Ryan Mcewen, and the local host, Sarah Emery. Rich Poyat, past president, will present ESA's prestigious awards, and the session will culminate with the scientific plenary by Katharine Suding. To begin the program, it's my pleasure to formally introduce to you President Laura Huhn. She will preside over the rest of the session. Dr. Laura Huhn is Professor Emeritus on the faculty of Northern Arizona's University School of Earth and Sustainability. At NAU, she also served as Dean, VP for Research, and Provost for Academic Affairs. Going back in time, after receiving an undergraduate degree from the University of Missouri, Dr. Huhn earned her PhD in Ecology and Evolution Biology at Cornell University. She went on to spend 16 years at New Mexico State University in Las Cruces, where she became Regents Professor and Department Chair in Biology. While there, her research focused on both rare and invasive plants and on plant community dynamics in semi-arid ecosystems. She served as principal investigator and as project director for the National Science Foundation-funded Jornada Basin long-term ecological research site. As founding dean, she led the formation and early years of a new interdisciplinary College of Engineering and Natural Sciences at NAU. For 10 years, she served as lead investigator for the NIH-funded Partnership for Native American Cancer Prevention Program, a program of research and training aimed at reducing cancer burden for Arizona tribal communities, while increasing the number of Native Americans in health-related professions. She also guided the development of several interdisciplinary research programs and centers while sustaining the university's commitment to collaborations such as the Biennial Conference for Research and Management on the Colorado Plateau. Her recent activities include serving on the board of directors of SWCA Inc., a large environmental consulting firm. She's a member of the Hoppe Education Endowment Fund Board, the Board of Trustees for the Museum of Northern Arizona, and the Board of Flagstaff STEM City. Now it's my pleasure to turn over the session to ESA's president, Laura Huhn. It's been a great honor and a pleasure to work closely with Laura over this past year. And I want to thank her and the entire governing board for their commitment to ESA and to making ESA a more vibrant, a stronger, and a welcoming community. Laura's inspiration has really been impressive. Thank you, Laura.
Well, Katharine, thank you for such a generous introduction. I want to add my welcome to everyone here in Louisville this week for our 104th annual meeting. It's taken the hard work of many people to bring you this week's terrific program, and I'll be thanking some of those people a little bit later this morning. In keeping with our meeting theme of bridging diverse communities and ecosystems, we're delighted to have such a wide spectrum of people, professions, and interests here with us this week. I hope we're all able to take advantage of this opportunity and build some new bridges, encounter some new people and perspectives during the week. I'm going to begin this morning with a territorial acknowledgement of some of those who've come before us here in this rich landscape of the Middle Ohio River Valley. Some of the field trips and sessions in the program this week provide insights into today's region and its recent history. But right now, I would like to acknowledge the diversity of the Native American people and cultures who inhabited and shaped this landscape for thousands of years prior to European colonization. Some of the original inhabitants include the groups we know today as the Shawnee, the Osage, the Miami Nations. But this valley has long been a region of long-distance commerce and exchanges with many native cultures in addition to those groups. In the 17th and 18th centuries, disruption and disease caused by European settlers to the east of here caused even more movement of others into this region. For example, some of the people we know as Cherokee and Seneca. Throughout the 18th century, conflicts, repeated incursions by settlers caused many, including the Shawnee, to withdraw west of the Mississippi River. And some areas in this region were formally ceded by the Shawnee and others in the early 1800s. By the time of the Federal Indian Removal Act in 1830, in fact, there were few tribal settlements left here in Kentucky to be forcibly removed. Although currently there are no reservations or formal government centers for federally recognized Native nations here in Kentucky, we need to acknowledge there have been centuries of human culture and activity here. And moreover, Native people did remain here in the community, and they remain today. Now, I know this description is far from complete, and it may be inaccurate in some ways, for which I apologize. But to me personally, it's hugely important that we at least try to acknowledge the human and cultural history of the landscapes we work in. Of all scientific communities, we as ecologists should recognize that humans are and have been part of the ecosystems we inhabit today and that we study. And this history did not begin with European colonization of the Americas. There's been some progress, but I still see this ignored in so many of the proposals and the manuscripts I review. So I'm taking advantage of this platform to remind us all to look a little more deeply into the history and the legacies of the ecosystems that we work in. That's a good segue, I think, to my actual assigned topic for today. That's the state of our scientific society and of our science. Over the 40-plus years that I've been an ecologist and been a member of ESA, I've seen a lot of change, mostly for the positive. But on the other hand, progress in some important areas has been like agonizingly slow, as in my comments just now. I'd like to take a few minutes to highlight some areas where your society has been working recently on your behalf, and in particular what your leadership has been working on, both to celebrate some gains and also to call out areas where we are going to need your continued help to take us farther in the right directions. Our professional society is healthy overall. Membership ranges each year between, say, 8,000 and 9,000 members. That number's down considerably from a peak of a few years ago, but we do have a solid core of membership, and we are very keenly focused on increasing the value we offer to ecologists across a wide range of career settings and career stages. Financially, our society is in good shape. This allows us to continue expanding the support and the advocacy we're providing. We're able to attract excellent professional staff. Katharine's a great example of that. And, of course, also the generous talents and time of volunteers, like many of you out there who are serving as board members, editors, committee chairs, council members, and more. Our journals, which are a key component of our society's mission and our reason for being, they are thriving. They're financially stable, they're highly valued by both readers and authors. Now, we've been having some vigorous discussion in recent years about changes in the landscape of publishing, the value of open science, the mechanisms of open access, and the society is continuing to explore what the relationships between membership and author access, or membership and reader access, should be in the future. Over the past 2 years, we've been keeping up the push to extend our tent and to move from an overly simplistic, numbers-based framing of diversity to attempting to operate as a more truly inclusive professional society. As many of us know very well, it's not so much about recruitment or about somehow creating interest, as it is about having a truly safe, welcoming, supportive environment that retains people of diverse backgrounds and interests and helps them to succeed. One element of this is the work that Katharine referred to, work we've been doing over the past few years to address sexual and gender harassment. When I was a student, harassment was frankly pretty common in our discipline, but mostly it was something we talked about in the quiet corners. It was somehow more shameful for the victims than for the perpetrators, and never openly challenged. Today, with courageous work that's being done in the science community and beyond, we're so much farther ahead. We have data, we have published results like the SAFE studies, not just anecdotes, and we have explicit codes of conduct, much higher expectations, some of the provisions that Katharine talked about. Of course, this is a work in progress, but we invite you to keep working with us on this cultural shift. We're unfortunately at an earlier stage with respect to racial and ethnic diversity in our society. We are starting to see SEEDS alumni moving into professional positions and taking up active roles here in ESA, which is fabulous. Ideas generated during the Extending the Tent discussions are strengthening our approaches to diversity and inclusion in our board nominations procedure. I invite you to check out our ballot for the elections this fall. In our committee appointments, in other aspects of our operations. We're also pushing to better serve a wide array of people in various career and professional settings. Katharine referred to our expanded career center with multiple offerings each afternoon this week. And we seek ways to continue supporting the efforts of our sections where there's so much human connection and creativity being generated. Because these meetings are so important to the society, the selection of meeting locations always generates a lot of interest, which is the understatement of the decade, I think. As I believe most of you know, a significant piece of legislation viewed as discriminatory was passed here in Kentucky quite a while after we had signed contracts with the diverse, inclusive community of Louisville. After a lot of input from our members and some very tough discussions last year, the board decided to go ahead with this meeting while being even more attentive to making it the safe environment it should be for all our members. While Louisville has been incredibly welcoming, I do want you to know that we recently sent a letter to Kentucky's governor and legislative leaders pointing out that our membership will not be comfortable returning to Kentucky for future meetings unless and until this legislative framework is changed. We've got a terrific meetings committee and meeting staff. They bring a lot of expertise and careful thought to their discussions and their planning, and they continue testing new ideas to increase the value and the accessibility of these conferences. I'm going to speak now just to one specific issue, something I've personally been very interested in, and that's the potential use of technology to increase access to the value of the conference, both for us attendees and for those who cannot attend in person. Last year, we experimented with video capture of a few plenary events. This week, all of the plenary talks are being captured, and the videos made available through ESA's website within 12 or 24 hours of the talk, starting with last night's outstanding plenary by Karen Warkentin. We've got plans to expand this access to a much larger proportion of the meeting content next year, so please stay tuned. A key responsibility of our officers and our governing board members is to think longer term, more strategically, focus on the most important priorities to address and invest in at any one point in time. We've spent the last 9 months refreshing our strategic plan to focus oversight for the next 3 years, and just yesterday, the governing board voted to endorse a formal statement of the Society's mission, vision, and values, and a short list of 5 major strategic areas of focus for our next 3 years. You'll see these documents on the standing displays around the conference center and at our booth in the exhibit hall, where you can provide feedback. Please stop by, take a look, and share your thoughts about how you, as a member, ideally as a volunteer, can engage with the priorities of the society. Now, the pleasure of seeing friends and colleagues each year is part of the exceptional value of this meeting. Sadly, though, it's also a reminder for some of us of the passing of some of our colleagues and the faces of those no longer with us. We're aware of some exceptional individuals, longtime ESA members, who passed away during this past year. A couple just very, very recently. Unfortunately, Katharine and I were not able to put together at short notice a complete list of those we should be acknowledging or an appropriate way of acknowledging them. But it does seem important to pause right now in respect for those colleagues and to express our gratitude for their contributions as scientists, friends, mentors. So I ask, would you please join me in a moment of silence to remember our departed colleagues. Thank you for that moment. We'll be working in future to find more appropriate ways, in addition to the resolutions of respect that we publish in the bulletin, to express our respect and our gratitude for those who are no longer with us. So that's the end of my comments about the current state of our society and our science. And of course, the science itself continues to be really exciting, creative, and important. We've got a fantastic program planned for you here in Louisville, thanks in large part to our program committee and to its chair, Ryan Mcewen. Ryan's been living and breathing every detail of this meeting for a long time now, and all of that dedication shows. Dr. Mcewen, please come on up to the stage. Let us thank you for all you've done to make this meeting the very best experience possible.
Good morning, and welcome to Louisville. Let's try that together. Louisville, right. So, so I'm Associate Professor at the University of Dayton and the Program Chair. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Commonwealth of Kentucky and to Louisville. I was born in Kentucky, and I did my undergraduate work here, and I can remember in 1999, as an undergraduate, I packed my poster, which in that time wasn't printed like this roll. It was cut out little, very crafty with X-Acto knife, and I put it in my Toyota Corolla and drove, actually, to Spokane, Washington, for the Ecological Society of America meeting, and walked into the exhibit hall, and I had a tie. My girlfriend's dad had given me a tie or something. I walk into the exhibit hall, and everyone's in chacos and shorts, and I was like, go to the water fountain, I'm taking my tie off. This is not the thing. But the idea was just the excitement, just to be in the room and to be part of the energy of the meeting was so invigorating, and I hope that some of you experienced that this week. I'm really proud of the theme, building bridges. I think I live in Dayton, Ohio now, and I just want to say that it's really important to build bridges in society and in science and between science and society, and I hope that you have an opportunity at the meeting to build bridges in your career. I want to say that inclusion as a theme, as an ecological imperative, I thought about that a lot, that phrase. I think that's important for us to push that to the front burner, and the conversations can be complicated, but we should take that on. And I need to acknowledge a few folks, so I want to say thanks to the program committee. It's a dedicated group. Chris Swan leads that committee, and I think we're doing great work. Obviously, the staff of ESA does an incredible job, but we can't do this meeting without incredible staff support. And I want to acknowledge the local host, Sarah Emery. Please stand. Sarah Emery, right here. Thank you. So she's crucial to the meeting and part of our success, and I hope you have a great meeting. And I want to close with a quote from the most famous Louisvillian, which is Muhammad Ali, who you might not know who that is. If you don't, he's a boxer, and the museum is nearby, but he's also an advocate for human rights. And he's a loquacious individual. This is one of his quotes. Impossible is just a big word thrown around by small people who find it easier to live in a world they've been given than to explore the power they have to change it. So I hope you have a great meeting. Thanks for coming.
Just a small token of thanks for all the work you've put into this, Ryan. Next, I'd like to acknowledge some of the many leadership contributions that have made ESA such a valuable intellectual home for many of us. To begin, I would like to ask any past presidents of ESA who are here with us in the audience to stand and be thanked for your service. I know you're out there. It's an amazing group that's taught me so much. I'd also like to call out Dr. Osvaldo Sala, who is our incoming president. He'll follow me in this position as of noon Friday, but who's counting the minutes, right? And very important, I would like to ask that all current and incoming members of our governing board and of our council, that's our section and chapter leaders, our committee chairs, our editors-in-chief, could you all stand and be recognized by this group? I've got to tell you, the amount of energy and talent out there, the society is in great shape. Now, one way that we celebrate the continued impact of our science is through our awards and our recognition programs. I'm going to ask our past president, Rich Puyat, to come up to preside over the awards ceremony. Ordinarily, we'd have our awards committee chair, that's Katie Suding, come up to do this, but as you'll see in a few minutes, she has another important role in this program today. I'd also like to have Katharine come up to assist us, and our award recipients, come on up.
While they're coming up on stage, I just wanted to mention that it's an honor to be able to give these awards out today. And when I look at the list of names that are being awarded, I realize that many of them have been integral in my career, and it just reminds me of how fortunate I've been in my career to have known these folks. So we're going to go through these one at a time. To honor Lucy Braun, an eminent plant ecologist, this award is given to a student for the most outstanding poster presentation at the ESA annual meeting. Jacqueline Peña's poster at last year's meeting, Plant Evolutionary Response to Climate Change, Detecting Adaptation Across Experimental and Natural Precipitation Gradients, examined how climate change affects genetic diversity of blue bunch wheatgrass populations in the sagebrush plant community in eastern Idaho. She is passionate about understanding the evolutionary consequences of climate change in order to explore genetic mechanisms of adaptation in natural populations. The commitment, so, Jacqueline? We obviously did not practice this before the today's award ceremony. The Commitment to Human Diversity and Ecology Award is in recognition of long-standing contributions of an individual towards increasing the diversity of future ecologists through mentoring, teaching, or outreach. Maria Mariti is recognized for the strategic development of programs to enhance human diversity of environmental professions and the science profession. We're getting better. Okay, the William Skinner Cooper Award is in honor of one of the founders of modern plant ecology in recognition of an outstanding contribution in geobotany, physiographic ecology, plant succession, or the distribution of organisms along environmental gradients. Oh, did I? Oh, it's not on here. Oh, what? Oh, there. Receiving the award today are Song Lin Fei, Jonathan Knott, Kevin Potter, and Christopher Oswald. Okay. The George Mercer Award, given in memory of a young British ecologist who was killed in action in World War I, is the oldest of the awards granted by ESA. The award is given to an author under 40 years of age in recognition of a single outstanding paper in ecology published during the past 2 years. Brett Jesmer and colleagues compared migration of historical and translocated populations of bighorn sheep and moose, demonstrating that ungulate migration is inherited culturally rather than genetically. This creative and interdisciplinary work represents a strong collaboration between researchers in academia and wildlife managers and state agencies, demonstrating that behavioral ecology provides an important foundation for pressing ecological and management questions. Brett, please come. All right, practice makes perfect. The Eugene Odom Award recognizes an ecologist for outstanding work in ecology education. Ricardo Razzi is a giant in the field of biocultural conservation and a pioneer in ecology education. He integrates philosophy with ecology to engage audiences across all levels of learning and to make large-scale conservation impact. His research, as well as his approach to education, focuses on diversity and inclusion, championing cultural and socioeconomic issues in Latin America. Beyond creating globally recognized education programs and novel teaching activities, Ricardo also engages with government agents, policies, and the media to build bridges for international approaches to ecological education. Ricardo. The Sustainability Science Award is given to the authors of a scholarly work that makes the greatest contribution to the emerging science of ecosystem and regional sustainability through the integration of ecological and social sciences. Timon Mcpherson and colleagues have provided a conceptual framework for addressing the interrelationships and management challenges among human habitats and attitudes, technologies, and urban environments. Addressing these challenges can provide a strong foundation for improving the sustainability and resilience of cities and the quality of life of urban residents. Receiving the award today are Timon Mcpherson, Thomas Elmquist, Nancy Grimm, and Stuart Pickett. The Innovations of Sustainability Science Award is given to the authors of a scholarly work that makes the greatest contribution to the emerging science of ecosystem and regional sustainability through the integration of ecological and social sciences. Elena Bennett and colleagues have called attention to examples from around the world that add nuance and insight into ways that human-environmental relationships can be improved. Their work highlights the types of changes that can be implemented to improve sustainability, resilience, and the quality of life in rural and urban areas. Receiving the award today are Earl, Ellis, and Timon Mcpherson. Is it just me, or is this an urban theme here or something? I don't know. The Distinguished Service Citation is given in recognition of long and distinguished service to the Ecological Society of America, to the larger scientific community, and the larger purpose of ecology and public welfare. Charles Canham is being honored for taking the long-term view of the welfare of the Ecological Society of America. He thinks deeply about safeguards and enhancing ESA as an institution and has accomplished as much as anyone to set ESA on a path toward prosperity and impact. We honor him also for his scientific contributions as a creative thinker, an extremely productive scientist, and leading forest ecologist with influential publications that span 35 years. The Eminent Ecologist Award is given in recognition of an outstanding body of ecological work or of sustained ecological contributions of extraordinary merit. Robert Holt is recognized for his contributions over the past 40 years that have transformed our understanding of the rich diversity of species interaction mechanisms that structure biological communities. The Robert Whittaker Distinguished Ecologist Awards recognizes an ecologist with an outstanding record of contributions in ecology who is not a U.S. citizen and resides outside of the United States. Jing-Young Feng is honored for his exceptional contributions to plant science, carbon cycling, ecosystem ecology, and for his strong record in leadership and innovation in ecology. So I think we ran out of awards, so we can move on.
Right. Thank you, everybody. I think we get to escape. Join me in recognizing these outstanding people once again. So thanks, Rich, for handling those duties, and of course, thank you to Katharine Suding, the chair of the awards committee, and to the many members who served during this past year on the various awards subcommittees. It's such an important element of our support for the achievements of our members. One final component of this recognition is our Fellows Program. As you know, each year we accept nominations for recognition of ESA members as fellows or as early career fellows, celebrating those who are making outstanding contributions to our science and to our community. Will those who are listed here as fellows selected during this year's process please stand and be recognized? And the next slide, I believe, shows our early career fellows, this year's cohort as well. Will any of you present please stand and be recognized by the group? Rest assured, we will be recognizing these fellows a little more appropriately and individually later today at a reception.